Hello, everyone. This is Joshua, another messenger. Today I'm going to be doing part 6 of Genesis, chapters 16 through 18. Well, how's everybody doing today? I love everybody. I pray everybody has an amazing, blessed day, and I pray that Jesus blesses everyone. Okay, here we go. Chapter 16. Now, Sarai, Abram's wife, bare him no children, and she had an handmaid, an Egyptian, whose name was Hagar. And Sarah said unto Abram, Behold, now the Lord hath restrained me from bearing. I pray thee, go into my maid. It may be that I may obtain children by her. And Abram hearkened to the voice of Sarai. And Sarai, Abram's wife, took Hagar, her maid, the Egyptian, after Abram had dwelt 10 years in the land of Canaan, and gave her to her husband Abram to be his wife. And he went into Hagar, and she conceived. And when she saw that she had conceived, her mistress was despised in her eyes. And Sarai said unto Abram, My wrong be upon thee. I have given my maid unto thy bosom. And when she saw that she had conceived, I was despised in her eyes. Let me stop right here for just a second. See, this was in the Old Testament. And see how having more than one wife can make another woman jealous. I mean, that's why we don't do it in the New Testament. The New Testament, one wife, one man, y'all get married, y'all become one. This is the Old Testament. This was back in the old days. This don't carry on to the New Testament. We have one wife, one man with one wife with one man. And that's the way it is. But this is the Old Testament, and I'm reading it right now. Okay. Conceived, I was despised in her eyes. The Lord judged between me and thee. But Abram said unto Sarai, Behold, thy maid is in thy hand. Do to her as it pleaseth thee. And when Sarai dealt hardly with her, she fled from her face. And the angel of the Lord found her by a fountain of water in the wilderness, by the fountain in the way to Shur. And he said, Hagar, Sarai's maid, whence comest thou, and whither wilt thou go? And she said, I flee from the face of my mistress Sarai. And the angel of the Lord said unto her, Return to this mistress, and submit thyself under her hands. And the angel of the Lord said unto her, I will multiply thee seed exceedingly, that it shall not be numbered for multitude. And the angel of the Lord said unto her, Behold, thou art with child, and thou shalt bear a son, and shalt call his name Ishmael, because the Lord hath heard thy affliction, and he will be a wild man. His hand will be against every man, and every man's hand against him, and he shall dwell in the presence of all his brethren. And she called the name of the Lord that spake unto her, Thou God seest me. For she said, Have I also here looked after him that seeth me? Wherefore that the well was called Ber-lahai-roi. Behold, it was between Kadesh and Bered, and Hagar bare Abram a son, and Abram called his son's name, which Hagar bare Ishmael. And Abram was 86 old, when Hagar bare Ishmael to Abram. And when Abram was 90 years old and 9, the Lord appeared to Abram, and said unto him, I am the Almighty God. Walk before me, and be thou perfect. And I will make my covenant between me and thee, and will multiply thee exceedingly. And Abram fell on his face, and God talked with him, saying, As for me, behold, my covenant is with thee, and thou shalt be a father of many nations. Neither shall thy name any more be called Abram, but thy name shall be Abraham. For a father of many nations have I made thee, and I will make thee exceeding fruitful, and I will make nations of thee, and kings shall come out of thee, and I will establish my covenant between me and thee, and the seed after thee in their generations, for an everlasting covenant, to be a God unto thee, and to the seed after thee. And I will give unto thee, unto the seed after thee, the land wherein thou art a stranger, all the land of Canaan, for their everlasting possession, and I will be their God. And God said unto and to Abraham, thou shalt keep my covenant, therefore, thou and thy seed after thee in their generations. This is my covenant, which ye shall keep between me, you, and the seed after thee. Every man child among you shall be circumcised, and ye shall circumcise the flesh of your foreskin, and it shall be a token of the covenant between me and you. Now remember, this is Old Testament. And he that is 8 days old shall be circumcised among you. Every man child in your generations, he that is born in the house or bought with money of any stranger which is not of thy seed, he that is born in thy house, and he that is bought with thy money must needs be circumcised. And my covenant shall be in your flesh for an everlasting covenant. And their uncircumcised man child, whose flesh is of the foreskin, is not circumcised, that soul shall be cut off from his people, he that broken my covenant. And God said unto Abraham, As for Sarai thy wife, thou shalt not call her name Sarai, but Sarah shall her name be. And I will bless her, and give thee a son also of her. I will bless her, and she shall be a mother of nations. Kings of people shall be of her. Then Abraham fell upon his face and laughed, and said in his heart, Shall a child be born unto him that is 100 years old? And shall Sarah that is 90 years old bear? And Abraham said unto God, O that Ishmael might live before thee. And God said, Sarah thy wife shall bear thee a son indeed, and thou shalt call his name Isaac. And I will establish my covenant with him for an everlasting covenant, and with his seed after him. And as for Ishmael, I have heard thee. Behold, I have blessed him, and I will make him fruitful, and will multiply him exceedingly. 12 princes shall he begot, and I will make him a great nation. But my covenant will I establish with Isaac, which Sarah shall bear unto thee at this set time in the next year. And he left off talking with him, and God went up from Abraham. And Abraham took Ishmael his son, and all that were born in the house, and all that were brought with his money, every male among them of Abraham's house, and there circumcised the flesh of their foreskin in the self same day, as God had said unto him. And Abraham was 90 years old and 9, when he was circumcised in the flesh of the foreskin. And Ishmael his son was 13 years old, when he was circumcised in the flesh of his foreskin. In the same self day was Abraham circumcised, and Ishmael his son, and all the men of his horse born in the house and bought with money of the stranger were circumcised with him. And the Lord appeared unto him in the plains of Mamre, and he sat in the tent door in the heat of the day, and he lifted up his eyes and looked, and lo, 3 men stood by him, he saw them, and when he saw them, he ran to meet them from the tent door, and bowed himself toward the ground, and said, My Lord, if now I have found favor in thy sight, pass not away, I pray thee, from thy servant. Let a little water, I pray you, be fetched, and wash your feet, and rest yourselves under the tree. And I will fetch a morsel of bread, and comfort ye your hearts. After that ye shall pass on, for therefore are ye come to your servant. And they said, So do as thou hast said. And Abraham hastened into the tent, and to Sarah, and said, Make ready quickly 3 measures of fine meal, knead it, and make cakes upon the hearth. Unto Abraham ran unto the herd, and fetched a calf tender and good, and gave it unto young men. And he toasted to dress it. And he took butter and milk, and the calf which he had dressed, and set it before him. And he stood by them under the tree, and they did eat. And they said unto him, Where is Sarah thy wife? And he said, Behold, in thy tent. And he said, I will certainly return unto thee according to the time of life. And lo, Sarah the wife shall have a son. And Sarah heard it in the tent door which was behind him. Now Abraham and Sarah were old and well stricken in age, and it ceased to be with Sarah after the manner of women. Therefore Sarah laughed within herself, saying, After I am waxed old, shall I have pleasure, my Lord being old also? And the Lord said unto Abraham, Wherefore did Sarah laugh, saying, Shall I of surety bear a child, which am old? Is anything too hard for the Lord? So basically, she was laughing because she didn't think that the Lord could do that, and he's trying to tell her, I am Lord, and I can do that. Okay. Is anything too hard for the Lord? At the time appointed, I will return unto thee according to the time of life, and Sarah shall have a son. Then Sarah denied, saying, I laugh not, for she was afraid. And he said, Nay, but thou didst laugh. Excuse me. And then men rose up from thence and looked towards Sodom. And Abram went with them to bring them on the way. And the Lord said, Shall I hide from Abraham that thing which I do, seeing that Abraham shall surely become a great and mighty nation, and all the nations of the earth shall be blessed in him? For I know him, that he will command his children and his household after him, and they shall keep the way of the Lord, to do justice and judgment, that the Lord may bring upon Abraham that which he hath spoken of him. And the Lord said, Because the cry of Sodom and Gomorrah is great, and because their sin is very grievous, I will go down now and see whether they have done altogether according to the cry of it, which is come unto me, and if not, I will know. And the men turned their faces from thence and went towards Sodom. But Abraham stood yet before the Lord. And Abraham drew near and said, Wilt thou also destroy the righteous with the wicked? Peradventure, there be 50 righteous within the city. Wilt thou also destroy, and not spare the place for the 50 righteous that are therein? That be far from thee to do after this manner, to slay the righteous with the wicked. And the righteous should be as the wicked, that be far from thee. Shall not the judge of all the earth do right? And the Lord said, If I find in Sodom 50 righteous within the city, then I will spare all the place of their sakes. So what God was, he was actually he was like, making a deal with them. He was like, if you can find 50 people there that are good, I'll spare the whole city. Now listen to what happens. Okay. And the Lord said, If I find in Sodom 50 righteous within the city, then I will spare all the place for their sakes. And Abraham answered and said, Behold, now I have taken upon me this, to speak unto the Lord, which am but dust and ashes. Peradventure there shall lack 5 of the 50 righteous, wilt thou destroy all the city for lack of 5? And he said, If I find there 40 and 5, I will not destroy it. And he spake unto him yet again and said, Peradventure there shall be 40 found there. And he said, I will not do it for 40's sake. And he said unto him, Oh, let not the Lord be angry, and I will speak. Peradventure there shall 30 be found there. And he said, I will not do it if I find 30 there. And he said, Behold, now I have taken upon me to speak unto the Lord. Peradventure there shall be 20 found there. And he said, I will not destroy it for 20's sake. And he said, Oh, let not the Lord be angry, and I will speak yet but this once. Peradventure 10 shall be found. So every time he said, I will not destroy it for 20's sake. And he said, Oh, let not the Lord be angry, because he couldn't find them. He was praying that the Lord wouldn't be angry with him, because every time he come back, he couldn't even find it. All the way down to 10, watch, or listen. And he said, Oh, let not the Lord be angry, and I will speak yet be this once. Peradventure 10 that shall be found there. And he said, I will not destroy it for 10's sake. And the Lord went his way as soon as he had left, coming with Abraham, and Abraham returned unto his place. Well, I'm gonna stop right there, and I'll finish it with Genesis, and this will be part 7 the next time I come and do the video, and we'll finish with 19, probably 19 through, let's see, 19 through 29, 21, 19 through 21 is what I'll come back and read. maybe 22 too, because they're kind of short chapters. But anyways, um, see, that's how he was working. Like, he kept coming to him and saying, "Hey, if you can find this many, then I'll save it, everybody." And he couldn't find none. But we'll see in chapter 19 in part 7 whenever I come back. Well, everybody, I love y'all. Jesus loves y'all more. I pray everybody be saved and have faith and find Jesus, and so that way we can go to heaven. And I know the rapture's coming soon, so everybody put on the full armor of God. I love y'all. Y'all have an amazing, blessed day. Talk to y'all soon. Bye bye.